Ask everyone, though, who has signs to please bring them down now. People are watching from the other part of the room. Just hold them in front of yourselves would be fine. Great. Thank you very much. Councilmember Sacker.
This is my last council meeting, so I'm not going to have the opportunity to say anything publicly, but I certainly want to acknowledge the folks in the room that came tonight in support of humanitarian crisis in Israel and Palestine. I think we need to acknowledge that there is a humanitarian crisis going on. I am Palestinian. My father was born in Israel. I spent time there. I know what the people are like on both sides. And when I was there, I didn't see the divisions that we often portray in the Western culture or Western media. I say that all to say is while I'm encouraged by folks coming tonight, I think it's important to understand full history and understand that you're here. And what I'm hearing is you're speaking on one aspect of the situation. I had drafted a commentary and I never posted it because it's been weighing on me since the attacks in Israel on October 7th or 8th. And I've talked to Councilman Appel, and I recognize Councilman or Jerry Harris, and who's my co-chair for HARC. I think it's important that the community have a conversation and understand the full history. So I'm just going to briefly read this, and if I'm out of order, tell me to stop. You can find me, or I'll pay the fine.
You're not out of order unless I ruled with the gavel. So please continue.
Just a little history lesson for those here supporting Palestine, and a history lesson for those that are also supporting Israel. In the 1940s, according to the UN, both were supposed to get a state. Israel got theirs, Palestine did not. The atrocities on October 7th and 8th reminded me that the UN has publicly chastised both governments for documented human rights violations. In July 2023, a poll conducted by Washington Institute, 62% of Palestinians supported the ceasefire with Israel. That was back then. And 50% agreed that Hamas should stop calling for Israel's destruction and accept a two-state solution. Not all Palestinians support Hamas, and Hamas does not represent in any way the whole of the Arab world or Palestinians. And I say this to the folks here tonight. I think you all have a message that you're trying to convey. I would strongly suggest that your message should also include the atrocities that occurred on October 7th and 8th in Israel, the rape of women, the killing of children.
Order, please. Councilmember Sackman has the floor.
This is not a conspiracy theory. These are things that happened. Just like the 20,000 Palestinians.
I'm going to ask you to either be quiet or remove from the council chambers, please.
And if
Councilmember Sackman now has the floor.
And if we can't have a respectful conversation, I would suggest you leave. And the 20,000 Palestinians that have been killed. I think the message should be that life is life and humanity is humanity. And we need to be doing everything we can as Charlestonians to come together to recognize that we might have different viewpoints and come from different historical contexts, but we all can agree that death is bad, murder is bad. But when folks come into the chamber, as a Palestinian, when folks come into the chamber with signs that say Free Palestine and don't acknowledge the atrocities that Hamas perpetrated on innocent Israelis, to me, that suggests that you don't understand the full history of the Middle East. And again, all Palestinians are not Hamas. There hasn't been an election remember, there hasn't been an election in the Gaza Strip since 2008. They've been unrepresented. So I want to make sure that the general public realizes that folks in Charleston care about the Israelis and we care about the Palestinians. And it's difficult as a Palestinian to sit here and see folks come into the chamber because I think it's giving off the impression that you don't care about the atrocities that occurred. Last couple things I will say. Again, just a little history lesson for those in the room. In 2006, Hamas won the Palestinian legislative election. They refused to recognize Israel's rights to exist and refuse to abandon terror. Palestinians have not voted for a legislature since 2006. Hamas has been the de facto authority in Gaza since 2006. Israel controls much of the basic utilities in Gaza, and lack of water, poor sewage, and daily power outages are commonplace. So I understand the plight. History has shown when a young population lives without hope and opportunity, the potential for radicalization increases. And terror groups like Hamas feed their people a steady diet of disinformation. If we can't agree that Hamas is a terror group and at the same time cherish humanity and make sure that Palestinians don't die recklessly and Israelis don't die recklessly, then I don't know what the heck we're doing here.
Sir, I'm going to ask you to please remove yourself from the chamber. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
As a Palestinian,
Please wrap up.
my hope is that at least here in Charleston, we continue to have a honest, authentic, mature conversation. And you all will be welcome to any event that we do in the future, but I just want us to all remember that we're all here for humanity. We realize that innocent Palestinians have died, but at the same time, innocent Israelis have also died at the hands of the terror group.
Order, please. All right.
And nope,
Sir, I'm going to ask you to remove yourself from the chamber, please. Thank you, sir.
those are the conclusion of my comments. I hope we all can have an honest and mature conversation at some point. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you again to those who came and expressed yourself. We welcome that.